of the match 49 Netherlands against USA, 6 p.m. tomorrow at Khalifa International Stadium. We have a pleasure to welcome head coach of the team Netherlands, Van Gaal, and player number 17, Daley. Thank you for your coming. Before starting the press conference, we'd like to remind you your mobile hotspot has been disabled. For photographers, you have first 5 minutes to take photos. Then we kindly ask you to leave this room or make sure to stop photography. Okay, so let's start. First question from us, Coach and Daley. What's your impression for tomorrow's match against USA? Coach, please.
Ja, dat heb ik eigenlijk al gezegd.
Well, actually, I already said that.
Amerika of USA, dat is
The USA.
een hele energieke.
That is a very energetic squad.
Met fysiek sterke spelers.
With
en,
physically strong players.
Lastig.
And
dat zie je
that
ook
is
aan de
tough
uitslagen
for
die zij hebben
any
behaald.
opponent. And you can tell from their results.
Maar ja, wij zullen er alles
hey,
aan doen om USA te
we
verslaan.
will do everything we can to win and to beat USA. That's it.
Ja, moet ik daar nog aan toevoegen? Ik denk dat.
Yeah, well, what shall I add to that? I think that the head coach just explained it quite eloquently. They have excellent players with excellent qualities, so we will be preparing as best as possible.
Okay, now floor is yours. Microphone is available. Please raise your hand if you have any question. Okay, so let's start. Yes.
Hello, Ariel Sulzada from TV2 Norway. A question for both. There's been suggestions that the format of the World Cup, where the first place meets the second place for the next group, causes problems of integrity, because sometimes it's better to be second than first. And some have suggested that a draw of who you meet would be the best way to do it. What do you think about that?
Onzin.
Rubbish.
Nee.
No.
Ja, ik kan het wel over uitweiden, maar dit is
well,
onzin.
I can elaborate on that, but it's rubbish.
Ik denk dat ieder team wil winnen.
I think
en ik denk niet
any
dat,
team will want to win, and I don't think that Spain or Germany
liever achter staan. Dat denk
would
ik.
prefer to be behind.
Alleen voetbal is wel een
I think it's
sport,
rubbish. But football is a sport.
Het is niet zo dat de beste
that
altijd
can be
wint.
surprising. I mean, it's not that the best always wins.
Okay, next, left side. Yes.
سؤال باللغة العربية.
A question in English.
سؤال باللغة العربية.
I have a question in English.
دالي.
To player 17, Dali. I would like to know your opinion of what the Moroccan squad has presented his performance since they came first in their group, and especially the performance of your former colleagues, Mizraoui and Jayesh.
Ja, het is altijd mooi om te zien als ex-collega's het
Well,
goed doen.
it's always wonderful to see when former colleagues perform well, and Morocco performed excellently in the group phase, and Ziyech and Mazraoui. I think it's great that they perform like that
Ja, wat kan ik er verder van zeggen?
at such a
Ik ben
tournament.
blij voor Marokko.
So what else
En
can I
we
say?
kijken er
I'm
met z'n
pleased
allen
for
naar.
Morocco, and all of us
Maar
watch
uiteindelijk,
Morocco, but
ja, focussen we
at the end of the
onszelf.
day,
En het is
we
mooi om
need
mee
to
te
focus
krijgen
on
voor
ourselves,
onze
and it's
jongens.
great to follow that, and it's great for us and for the guys.
Okay, gentleman in the middle, please.
Coach down here, Martin Rogers, Fox Sports. Coach, obviously American soccer is something that has changed considerably over the last few decades. What's your perception of the American team? Do you consider it one that's close to being at elite international level, or still some way behind a team like yours?
Nee hoor, ik denk dat ze zich goed ontwikkeld hebben.
I think that they've evolved well.
Amerikaans, denk ik.
It's typically American, I would say.
Snel gaat.
You know that they evolve rapidly, and they have many players in European top clubs. So it goes without saying that they would perform and achieve these results. It's a process, and perhaps USA hadn't expected that from this squad. But I think if you watch them play, that it's crystal clear that they had opportunities, and that's what they've shown us.
So yeah,
I don't think it's a surprise, to be quite frank. I had expected that USA in any case would progress after the first match, because before that I hadn't seen them.
Okay, ladies in the middle, please.
Meneer Van Gaal, Memphis Depay heeft in feite gezegd...
Mr. Van Gaal, Memphis Depay in fact said that he would prefer to play with Steven Bergwijn next to him and Cody Gakpo at 10, on 10. So how do you feel about that this is being said and shared in the media? Answer, well, you have a wonderful relationship with my players, apparently, so these things happen, that players ventilate their views, and whether it's sensible, well, that's another issue. But that's fine. Everybody can have their own opinion, and particularly in the Netherlands, I would say. Good afternoon, Mr. Van Gaal. From the Belgian paper, Nieuwsblad. In Belgium, we're envious of you. Had you expected Belgium to be eliminated so quickly? And I also saw your name on several websites, your name coming up as a potential head coach for Belgium. Is this something you would look forward to possibly move to Belgium? Answer, Belgium is a wonderful country with really friendly people. So yes, and Knokke is a wonderful beach town. So yes, I've reflected. Question off mic.
Wat is verrassend, wij hebben de laatste twee wedstrijden.
Well, what is surprising, we also beat them the last two matches, and the players in their squad that I think are really marvelous. And if you look at them individually in a standalone situation, well, in my view, it's just all about the team. But then again, I can't really judge that because I was never at the practice sessions. I don't see every match. I did see the last match. Well, they should have won. They should have won, and then they would have qualified. Football's not only about technique, tactics. No, it's also a bit of luck. And then the referee also plays a part. And if you saw the three referees that the Netherlands has experienced, yeah, well, I think that we can start a discussion on that one as well.
Okay, next, from the front.
Meneer Van Gaal, nog een vraag uit België.
Mr. Van Gaal, another question from Belgium. You said that you reflected on it, Knokke, Belgium. But what is needed in order to get you and your wife, Truus, to move to Belgium? Well, answer, you're quite right. You've got to convince my wife, Truus. Yes, no, joking aside. No. I'm always at liberty to take decisions myself, but there are certain countries that I won't move to, and my wife, Truus, will certainly not move to. So it's as simple as that. But I think that we're here to work with the Dutch team. We want to become world champion. So we've got another 4 matches ahead of us. And then we'll see. We'll see whether there are any offers on the table. In an interview in the Dutch media, I have said that if we become world champions, then everybody is so opportunistic in this football world that there will be offers. I know that full well, but for the moment, we are not world champion. And if I have to believe the Dutch media, we will never become world champion.
Mr. Van Gaal, Martinez from Onda Cero Spain. What's your opinion about the VAR's last decision? First goal, French against Tunisia, and the second goal, Japanese against Spain.
Nou, ik vind niet dat deelnemers.
Well, I don't think that participants should say anything about this in public. I do think that we can leave it to the technical committee or whatever. I, for instance, also wrote a letter to Wenger before World Cup about the way we play football, and that all of a sudden leads to overtraining. But football is a physical sport, and this is a trend that I've seen before. It's simply a trend, and in the first 3 matches I saw yet again that we made more fouls than the opponent, whereas I think we had 50 to 60% ball possession.
Just a moment. So for photographers, we would like to ask you to stop photography or leave this room, please. Okay, let's go.
Martijn Krabberdam, Football International.
Martijn Krabberdam, Football International. Question to the head coach. The matches, the first 3 matches, what makes you believe that you'll be okay in this match against USA? Answer. Well, in principle, I would say that we started off with a squad with lots of people who were not yet fit enough, perhaps medically fit, but not match fit. And they've all been given opportunities to play, and we quite smoothly went through the group stages. And in the group stage, it turned out that if the opponent had ball possession, and also in the transition to ball possession of the opponent, we play really well. But in the transition to ball possession, our ball possession, there is room for improvement. But I've said that in the previous press conference as well, and I will repeat it today. It was a lot better when we played Qatar.
Gentleman in the middle, yes.
Koen Gezen van NRC Handelsblad.
Koen Gezen, NRC Handelsblad.
Je hebt tegen Greg Berhalter gespeeld. U als coach van
You
Ajax.
played Greg Berhalter once. You as Ajax, and he was a player of Sparta. It was in 1997. It was 2-1 for Sparta. Do you remember that match? And how different was your philosophy as a coach of Ajax at the time, and now as head coach for the Dutch squad? Reply, in which year was that? 97? And do you really think that I remember that I played? No, I was a coach. Comment off mic, the interpreter can't hear the question.
Ik kan me die wedstrijd niet herinneren.
No, I don't remember that match.
Eigenlijk zijn vader komen, die weet het allemaal veel beter dan ik.
Well, perhaps his father needs to join us here because he remembers all these things. I don't live in the past. I live in the present and the future. I always make plans for the future. As now I might be making plans for Belgium, for instance. So hey, I do not live in the past.
Okay, so you need a microphone. Yeah, because otherwise the interpret.
No, but he has already
okay.
asked this question.
Okay, just repeat.
Ja, in die tijd was ik helemaal
well, at the time,
doordrenkt van het Ajax DNA.
I was completely built of Ajax DNA. You've got to attack, you've got to do that with your wing players, and that was easy because youth training was focused on that. So there were enough players that would evolve, and if we didn't have our own players, we would buy them. We couldn't do that, not at the beginning in 97, or 91 rather, but later on we could buy players, and we bought the wingers Overmars and Fellini. And it was all about attacking, nothing else. But over the years, you assess, you evaluate the playing style and the risks attached to such a style of playing. And I applied the lessons learned in this evaluation, and this has got to do with the quality of your group of players, the quality of the opponents, and the views and the vision that you have. And slowly but surely, this evolved into less attacking style, more a style of winning matches, because I also lost matches when we were 3-0 ahead. Valencia, a home match, our friend over there might remember that, our friend from Spain. We lost 3-0 in Valencia, and then we lost it 4-3. We were 3-0 ahead. And so these are moments in time in which, as a head coach, you have to reflect and see whether it is such a sensible thing to continuously attack. You can also kill a match and then just play it out. And you see this happening at this World Cup in so many different ways. And it's not straightforward to win a match at the World Cup. That it just goes to show.
Wait. First is the gentleman, then you are second.
Skolkamp van ESPN Nederland. Voor beide. Nu gaat het
a question for both of you. This is about the real thing. And if you compare this opponent to the opponents in the previous 3 matches, is this going to be the toughest match? Head coach, it's very difficult to answer your question because the first is always the toughest match, and USA has demonstrated that it has an excellent team. I would even say one of the best teams, a team that is fine-tuned, and it's going to be a very tough match. But it's nothing we can't overcome. I mean, we also have a good team. In any case, that's my view. And we'll have to wait and see in this match which of the 2 squads is the best. But I'm not going to downplay Team USA, as if it's nothing. No, on the contrary, I think that they are an example of what a good team is supposed to be. And there are also countries that have progressed that are not a good team, but that do have excellent individual qualities. Daily. I agree. I think Team USA is an excellent team, and furthermore, I always think that the next match is the toughest and the most difficult match. So that's just my view.
Lady from the last row, please.
Here on the back, on your right, Mr. Van Gaal. Your right, on the back. Here. I'm Julia. I'm from Brazil. We have been seeing this World Cup a lot of young and talented players performing really well. And tomorrow we'll see Gakpo against Pulisic. I'd like to ask you, what can you say about their qualities and what do you expect from them on this match tomorrow?
Pulisic and Gakpo are both creative players. And they show a lot of assists, a lot of crosses and goals. And these are the players that are determining and make sure that a team can win. And that applies to Pulisic, but also Gakpo, and that's why they're valuable players.
Okay, gentleman from left side.
Louis.
Yes.
Sorry, over here, Louis. James Ducker from the Daily Telegraph. Louis, what have you made of the criticism in the Dutch media of Holland's style of play and performances? And do you think, particularly at World Cups, that pragmatism is more important than sort of flair and flamboyance?
Well, perhaps this is the best answer. In 2014, it was exactly the same. It was no different. It was very negative. So, exact same thing now. Same old. So, I'm used to it. And I think my players are also used to it. So we are just calmly going to continue on the path that we have embarked on.
Okay, lady from the...
Misschien kan jij nu een foto maken.
Perhaps you can take a picture now.
A picture after this declaration. Jeez.
You got the next one? Okay, so let's move to have a question from the left side.
Louis. It's Harmer with USA Today. Serginho Dest could have played for the Netherlands. I know you weren't in charge of the team when he made his decision, but I'm wondering what you've thought of his performances in this tournament so far, or what else you've seen of him up until now.
Nou, ik geef liever Daley het woord.
Well, I prefer to give the floor to Daley because he knows him better than I do. He played for Ajax.
Ik heb hem natuurlijk wel geanalyseerd, dus ik kan
and
wel
of course I
een
analyzed
antwoord
him.
geven. Maar
So I can give you an answer, but
ik heb moeite om over
I
spelers te praten en daarom
just
praat
find
ik
it difficult to
over
talk about
algemeenheden
players,
altijd.
which is why I always speak about them in general terms, just like the lady over there who asked a question about Gakpo and Pulisic.
Als ik een speler beschrijf en ik praat
If
met die
I
speler,
describe a
dan geef
player,
ik hem
and if
aan
I
wat ik
talk
heel
to the
goed vind
player,
aan hem, maar
I
ook
will
wat hij
tell
heel
him
slecht
what
doet.
I like about him, but
Want
also
het is
his
niet
weaker
dat je in
points.
alle teamfuncties
So
een
it's
10
not that
scoort.
in all team functions you
Zo
can
ben ik.
score an A.
Maar
That's
dat
just
kan
the
ik
way
hier
I
op een
am. But
persconferentie
I can't
niet
do
doen,
that
omdat
here
ik over
at a
mensen
press
praat en ik
conference
wil mijn
because I'm talking
spelers
about
niet
people.
afvallen.
And I don't want to downplay my own players.
Misschien Daley heeft met hem gespeeld,
And
dus ik
Daley
kan hem
played
beter
with him.
beoordelen
So he's
dan
in a much better position
en Daley is gewend
to
om
tell you about
daar iets
him
over te
than I
zeggen.
am. And Daley's also used to talking about that.
Ja, Des kwam al heel snel bij het eerste
Yes,
elftal
Desk
op jonge leeftijd. En, ja,
joined the first
skillful
team
was,
very
talentvol
quickly.
en hij
And you
haakte heel
could
snel bij
immediately see
bij
that
de
he
eerste
was full of
selectie.
talent. And
En
he
ik
ended
denk
up
dat
in
hij
the
zich
first
ontzettend goed
selection very
ontwikkeld heeft.
quickly.
Hij heeft heel snel
And
toen
he
een
evolved
plek
really
afgedwongen in het
rapidly.
elftal. En uiteindelijk
So
maakte
he
hij
got a
een snelle
position in
stap
the
naar
team.
Barcelona.
And he
En
quickly moved to
uiteindelijk zal hij zich
Barcelona
daar
after
natuurlijk nog
that.
verder ontwikkeld hebben
And
dan
I'm sure that he
toen.
evolved even
Dus het
further
is
there.
een ontzettend
So
goede speler. En,
it's an excellent player.
skillful.
Yeah, very skillful.
Gentleman from the middle.
Van het ANP. Louis, Memphis hield na
Question to Louis. Memphis, in the match, after the match against Qatar, had a sort of pep talk with the players. This reminded me of Arjen Robben against Costa Rica and Argentina. Is his role like Robben's role at the time?
Natuurlijk een kwaliteit op zichzelf.
Well,
Dat
of
was
course,
Arjen ook.
he's a
En
quality
dat
unto
is Memphis
himself,
ook. En
like
enig in zijn
was the
soort.
case
En
with
dat is
Arjen Robben. Memphis is also
Ja,
a
misschien
unique
heeft
person,
Memphis het wel
and perhaps Memphis
overgenomen van Arjen.
took over
Zou
from
best kunnen, want
Arjen Robben.
hij is erbij
That
geweest
could
in
well be.
2014.
He was
Er waren
there
niet
in
veel andere
2014.
spelers die erbij
There were
waren.
not many other players who were there in
En
2014.
ja, ik juich het alleen maar toe als
So
spelers dit
I
soort
can
acties doen.
only say that that's a good thing. You know, if players do these
Gentleman
things,
from the
I would encourage it.
Hello, Coach. Nazim Bessol from Botola, Algerian newspaper. I will ask my question in French. Is possible?
No French today.
No French.
No
Okay.
French today. English, Arabic.
You said that you prefer
Dutch.
talking about your future and your eventual move to Belgium. How about Africa? Is it a possible destination that you can discuss with your wife?
Ik denk het niet. Maar
I don't think so.
je moet alles open houden.
But you've got to keep your options open. But once again, I'm here for working with the Dutch team. And, you know, for these guys, it's important that we focus on Team USA. And if here at the press conference, all I do is talk about other countries, they won't believe me anymore. I mean, it's difficult enough as it is to convince them.
Ibis Scholarship, SBI, here. Coach, you said you hadn't seen the United States before the tournament began, but now that you've had a chance to scout them, what has impressed you the most about them? And as far as their coach goes, he's gotten a lot of criticism in the U.S., even though the team is doing well. What have you thought of how they... That's everywhere, right? That's every country. Every country it happens. What have you thought of how he's set them up and how he has them playing?
Ja, ik kan alleen maar zeggen.
Well, all I can say is what I have seen. I was never present at the trainings, the meetings, as I was never there when he prepared his players. So all I can do is tell you what it is that I have observed. And what I observe is a vision. What I see is a team that is keen to execute that vision, which is of the utmost importance. And I see the conviction, especially the conviction of the players. So that, for a coach, must be fantastic. That is how I feel about my group. Well, I've been saying this for a year and a half ever since I became head coach of this group of players. So I've conveyed the message ever since, because I don't think I've ever had a group like this one. And you see it on the pitch, but I'm apparently the only one in the Netherlands that sees that. Well, that's probably me.
Okay, gentleman in the second row, please.
RTL Nieuws, Nederlands, vraag voor beide.
RTL News, question to both of you about possible penalties. Daily, would you be on the list? Would you be prepared to take a penalty? And Mr. Van Gaal, could you explain, you probably practice penalties for a longer period of time. Why is a longer preparation so important? And why don't you consider this to be a lottery? Head coach, I don't think we can substitute or replace lottery by a scientific substantiation. It doesn't work that way. I know that taking penalties is extremely important in a tournament. We experienced that. We missed the finals because of that, whereas in 2014 we were the best squad on the pitch. Nonetheless, we lost because of penalties. And, well, that was the reason. I always learn from so-called mistakes, between inverted commas. I learn from those lessons and I focus on them in order to increase our chances that the person who has to take the penalty actually has all the confidence he needs to shoot a penalty. And the same applies to the goalkeeper. We also, of course, we came up with all sorts of arguments and reasons in order to find out who would be the best goalkeeper. Not only the person taking the penalty, but also the goalkeeper. We substantiated our choices on that basis, the decision, the sequence, etc., etc. But the big advantage now is that both the goalkeepers as well as the penalty takers throughout the entire season have worked on penalties. So I think that that could be an advantage, even though it's a small advantage. I'll do everything it takes for that, and the same applies to the team. I will give my utmost for the team. I wouldn't say whether you're going to take the penalty, yes or no. Daily Blitz. Well, it's a long list of players, so we'll have to wait and see who's going to take the penalty, if ever we do take penalties. And so he's more or less saying and implying that there's a list of players. Well, I just said it's a very long list. Anybody could be on that list.
Okay, let's have a question from the front row, right side. Yeah.
كريم عبد المحسن موقع كورة. سؤالي باللغة العربية.
Karim Abdel Mohsen from Al Qura website. You said that the situation is negative today as it was the case in 2014. Could you elaborate more on that? Another question to Blind. Do you think that the penalty capabilities within the USA team is a threat for your squad tomorrow?
Zover moeten we nog niet kijken, denk ik.
Well, I don't think that we should look that far. We should focus on the match. We want to win the match, and whether or not penalties need to be taken, well, if push comes to shove. In any case, we have prepared as best as possible. We'll have to wait and see.
Ja, en ik denk dat ik duidelijk genoeg ben geweest.
Head coach, I think I've been clear enough.
De media het anders ziet dan
that the media have a different opinion than I have.
Nog meer
So
voeten
I don't want to annoy them anymore.
Okay, this is the last question.
Ja, Louis, in 2014 werd die knockout.
Louis, in 2014, the knockout stage also became the tournament of the changes. Huntelaar against Mexico, Krul, the new goalkeeper. There were also some surprises. So are you going to surprise us again? And the fact that you have 5 substitutes, what is the advantage of that?
Ja, welk voordeel?
Well, what is the advantage?
Ik had ook in deze fase al een gelukkige hand.
Well,
want, volgens mij,
in this phase, in this stage, I was already lucky because
Gakpo op een andere positie
I think
gescoord.
Gakpo scored in a different position. Klaassen scored when he came into position 10. Weghorst and De Roon managed to get 1-1
tegen Ecuador.
Against
dus ja,
Ecuador.
Op zichzelf
so,
wissel ik voor
I think
wat ik vind wat ontbreekt in
change,
het team.
I
Of als ik de wedstrijd
bring
wil
players off
uitspelen,
the
dan heb ik
bench
ook mijn
if that
wissels
is
voor.
needed, and also if I need to play out the match, I have my substitutes for that as well. And that is also because I had an experience against Montenegro. We were ahead 2-0, it became 2-2, it could also be 3-2. And
Ik ook in de rust heb aangegeven dat op een gegeven
at halftime, I indicated that we had to play a more compact game, and I solved that by featuring players that would make that change. And that's the way I keep working on the bench, seeing whether there are possibilities to tweak a match, make it evolve in the way I want it, and sometimes you succeed better than others, but I'm sure that much is clear. What else was the other question? Question off mic, the interpreter can't hear.
Nee, dat heeft te maken met de trainingen die wij doen.
Answer: no, that's got to do with practice sessions. And if in training and practice sessions you show that you can perform, chances are that you might be featured. I can't explain that beforehand. I can't determine that beforehand.
Dat zal moeten blijken.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, thank you for your many questions. See you tomorrow. Thank you.